Well, average age of death should be quite straightforward, but what might not be straightforward is the thing at the top, professional gentry. They are the wealthy people with nice big houses and nice soft jobs. Tradesmen, people like butchers, they've got like butchers, shoemakers, or cobblers as you'd call them, people with tougher jobs than the gentry. They're not as wealthy, but they're not like the labourers who are doing the hardest, back-breaking, most dangerous work. And that's that. All the places listed pretty much are cities, with the exception of Wiltshire. Wiltshire is out in the countryside, so that might be quite significant there. All the others are in... Oh no, Kendal. Kendal's in the Lake District. So apart from Kendal and Wiltshire, they're all cities or towns. If you're looking at source 3, the overcrowding should shout at you straight away. Look at what's on the feet of the people in the street, particularly the many, many children, or perhaps what's not on their feet. Look in the left-hand side and you'll see an animal. I can't quite make out what it is, but it could be a goat. Is that going to be good for living? And look in the background, there's a horse and cart with a man with a whip trying to drive a cart down a street such as this. I mean, there's so much you can take from this sketch of a typical London street by a visitor to these London streets, to pick out the dangers, the problems, the health issues. Just imagine you lived on a street that looked like this. Again, this source is not too dissimilar to the sketch that you see on the other one. Cholera was a disease that was spread by infected poo getting in water supplies, and people threw sewage out in the street, which farmers would come along and collect. And what you can see there is a boy with his head in the pile of poo, a lady picking through the pile of poo, people walking around the piles of poo. And you might think this is exaggerated. Well, actually they did have piles of poo lying out in the street, and the problem with the cholera is their water supplies wouldn't be too far away. If it rained, that poo would wash into streams and rivers, which is where they get their water supply, and into underground wells. And if somebody who had cholera had added to this poo pile, which they would because cholera causes diarrhoea, and it washes into the water supply, vastly more people would get sick, and thousands died from cholera in the Industrial Revolution. Now this source links to the last source actually. It gives you more details, and you could even talk about cholera when you're talking about this source, but can you imagine how unpleasant it would be to be in this situation, to live in a place like this? And, well, not just the health issues that you would obviously think of, but how life would be so unpleasant. And then when you link it back to the table that you saw at the start, well, the gentry weren't living there. The people who owned the factories and the mills, they weren't living in the places that were like this. It was the ordinary workers who weren't paid enough to be able to move to live somewhere else, or to improve their areas so that they didn't look like this, or didn't have to experience dunghills and swarms of flies and all that sort of stuff. You know what flies carry, of course. Now by this point you probably think, well, this is health as well. And yes, of course it is. It's all about health. If people are crowded in, they get ill, and other people are crowded around them, those diseases are going to spread. But also, think about the security aspect here. If the streets are so narrow that people can step from one window of house to another, it's not a safe area. These are the poorest areas of Edinburgh. There's going to be unsavoury characters in there, and there's going to be houses full of children, full of families. It's not a safe place to live. It's not a pleasant place to live. Life expectancy is probably not going to be particularly high. It would stink. It would be horrible. And it's just yet another example that backs up all the sources together. But don't just think of health. Think of security with this one. If we're thinking of living conditions in the Industrial Revolution, you'll look at this, you'll think again. Health, of course you will. But this is from a group of people living in one of these horrible places. Look at the English. It's appearing in the Times as a letter from them, but you can get an idea of people's education from this. But it does also make a mention of decent Christians to live in, so you will get an idea about life in the Industrial Revolution from that as well, and how religion is still playing a big central role. You can assume these people go to church. Some of them can write clearly, so that does tell us something good about education, because these are working class people living their worst lives. These are the labourers. But at the same time, you can see the quality of their English. It's not particularly good. So there's more that you can infer there than just health. This source is really, really tricky. And even me as the teacher, I have to think twice about what it's telling me when I come to see it. What it is telling me is it's explaining, according to this French aristocrat, this Frenchman coming across to England, what he thinks about why conditions were so bad, particularly in Manchester. And he's saying how the employers, the people who own the factories and the mills, are helped by all the scientific breakthroughs, the developments in industry, and how capital means money, how they're able to get money and make money, and they enjoy all of those advantages because of the Industrial Revolution. But at the other end of the scale, the people who are working in these places of industry, well, people come into these cities willing to work for such low wages that it keeps wages low. There's more workers around than there are regular jobs. So people are just desperate to work so they can feed themselves, so they will work for whatever people offer, which keeps wages down, which keeps the poor extremely poor, and helps to make the rich even richer. So he's kind of saying that even though Great Britain is going through this incredible industrial revolution, it's only the rich that are benefiting from it, and they're sort of exploiting the poor and making them work for these terribly low wages so that they could get even richer, because only the rich are benefiting from the things that the Industrial Revolution bring, whereas the poor are really not benefiting whatsoever. In fact, their lives may be getting worse as a result of it.